Welcome back to the Elise studio where Worlds 2019 is well underway. Throughout the tournament, MasterCard is highlighting the fans of the match as they cheer on our combatants here in Europe. Today, Cho from Brazil and Adrian and Leo from Germany received themselves some scarves and plushies. And Adrian also got a very nice surprise as his favorite team, Unicorns of Love, picked up their first win at Worlds 2019. We'll ignore the fact they lost the next one. Let's move on to our pre-match analysis of a Mammoth taking on Clutch Gaming. Here's the fans I was talking about just a moment or two ago. Congratulations to everybody.
Red caster minion, blue minion. Which one?
Oh, it's obviously red caster minion.
Because we're having this conversation when we walk through the lobby, because obviously the O's guys haven't been here before. The blue one is adorable. The red one, kind of nightmare-inducing.
Yeah, but that's what you want. You want something that's going to win. You want your minions to be better than the enemy minions.
Can we clarify, when you say the OS guys, do you mean the Oceanic caster team or the Mammoth players? Because it's pretty important to distinguish them.
No, the Oceanic caster team, when it was Ejim, Atlas, and I.
I think the OS players had more important things to worry about, Trevor.
Absolutely, like winning this next game.
That is what we're going to turn our attention to. The pride of the OPL Mammoth. They are opposite North America's Clutch Gaming. Quickly, let's set the scene. This game has massive impact on the standings. The LCS's Clutch will look to catch up to the other teams in Group A. If they win this, everyone is tied at 1-1. If Clutch, however, go 0-2, it's a very terrifying, prospect when you consider there's only 4 games to be played in the group stage. There is so much pressure on these individual players and on these teams to step up, and Clutch looked shaky.
Absolutely they did, and a lot of it was to do with the jungle position and how much work Ananasik was able to get done early in that game. Now, the good news for Clutch right now is that is not the style of jungle that Babip plays. However, a whole different set of problems will present themselves as they now have to deal with these solo laners.
And I sort of said it earlier on the desk. I actually think Clutch's problems in that first game are pretty easy fixes. I think Huni underperformed massively in the top lane. If he can just sort of flip that switch and be, the good Huni that we know he can be.
Good, dude.
Like, just be good. I know he can do it, so just be good, Huni, and it'll be fine. And the other thing is the draft. It was a huge miss for a Clutch with a heavy priority on their Renekton that end up flexing into mid lane. Regardless of matchup, the Renekton was going to lose its lane. And you just look across the board, it is 3, in theory, losing matchups. Bot lane was the exception because I do think the bot lane from UOL made some mistakes to let them have some room. And then a losing jungle matchup. So Clutch just had no early playmaking capabilities.
However, as I said, the solo laners of Mammoth right now do present a unique problem for Clutch to deal with. Because if Clutch are going to be able to take over this game, we said Huni needs to carry and needs to be able to exert pressure, and Damonte needs to be able to roam. Now, we've already seen Fudge deal with top lane pressure very well this game, and Triple is a completely different kind of beast in that mid lane.
Now, I would like to see how much of a different player Fudge is on GP as opposed to something else, because I think that GP is great at absorbing pressure in that top lane. So for me, I want Clutch to ban that away and then see what he's got.
Well, let's actually take a look at exactly how he did that, because Mammoth earlier today, they picked up that win. I'm figuring out whether I'm buying tickets to the OPL hype train right now, and it was plays like this that we keep talking about. Fudge goes for the kill, and yes, he dies. But the point we want to highlight is how many resources are being committed towards him and that top lane that is going to open up opportunities.
And in theory, this is the exact same type of strategy that Clutch Gaming is going to be employing. And you see, in these consecutive ganks, he was able to avoid it, and his team working well alongside him. You have Triple teleporting up into the top lane, or his team getting things done on the other side of the map. In this case, there's a Skarner around that Drake on the bottom side, and the TP from Triple to come in. So I think the team as a whole backed him up and enabled him on top of just good individual play.
And I do want to point out that a lot of these dives should have worked. You saw right there that the Echo went slightly early. In the bottom lane plays, a little bit of indecision, some bad trading from the Renekton coming across. So these dives can work. However, what we have seen so far in this play-in is on the international stage, a lot of players are feeling the pressure, and a lot of these small mishaps are sneaking into the game and kind of warping game state.
And that's also what we were just mentioning a moment or two ago, is that with the stakes being so high, 4 games to determine if you advance to the play-ins knockouts or not, there is very little room for stutters and missteps. Let's talk about Triple very quickly before we talk about this matchup. Triple ended up winning the Oppo player of the game. He picked up fantastic kills on that Syndra. He seemed to be everywhere. and he was one of the danger men you were talking about before the day began.
Yeah, and he's such a silent kind of assassin in a lot of these moments because he's always very unassuming. He has this quiet confidence about him, and he does bring a lot of this kind of level-headed, grounded play to the team. You saw Fudge going for the 1v1. You saw King flashing forward. Triple is Mr. Consistency, is Mr. Get the job done, and was able to do that in game number 1.
And I know we've only seen one game of Triple here in the play-ins at Worlds, but I do think that he could make a case for being the best mid laner in this group. He obviously goes against Damonte next, but he already took out Nomans, and I think out of all the NA mid laners coming to Worlds, Damonte is the one that you can exploit most inside of the laning phase. After that game 1 performance, if he shows up again, I think you can try to make that statement.
So we've already talked a little bit about the top lane focus and how if Mammoth want to pick up another win, Fudge stepping up, showing up, absorbing pressure, containing Huni is one of the ways. Spawn, how else can the OPL look to take down the LCS?
I think that a lot of this is going to actually be on the bottom lane. I think that King and Destiny need to be able to generate an advantage. I'm quite on Ender's side. I don't think that you have back-to-back bad games if you're Huni. I think that Fudge will struggle this time around, and that means that Triple and Babip must be able to trade sides of the map very well.
And at the same time, you have to say, Fudge, can you stop the bleed? Can you go even or at least not get smashed by Huni? Again, had a great performance. Huni really underperformed. So it's quite possible that Huni just has another bad game and Fudge comes out on top. But at the very least, if you can hold your own, other areas on the map for Mammoth could carry.
Obviously, we have been very focused around the top, mid, and jungle during our pregame. Let's not forget those bot lanes could be influential. It is time to see who comes out on top as we send it back to the casters for Game 5.
Thank you so much, Quickshot, and welcome back to the caster desk. And thankfully, we now have 2 Oceanic representatives to bring you the Mammoth matchup, which is going to be up against Clutch Gaming. And I love that they brought up the fact that Huni having one bad game doesn't mean that this team is bottom of the group or anything like that. I think that Clutch is going to be a really tough matchup here for Mammoth, but if it happens, Bryce, what does it mean?
I don't even know, to be honest. This group is completely up in the air. Because I will say, UOL's victory over Clutch was a little more solid than Mammoth's victory over UOL, right? Towards the end of that game, it was looking a little shaky. There was a super botched Nexus dive to close that one out. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting coming in between these two teams, but yeah, Clutch going to have to switch things up based on their recent performance.
Well, Clutch going to ban away the Pantheon and the Vladimir so far, as the Kiana and the Rumble are the blue side bans here for Mammoth. See, what we're going to take away last here is Xayah is going to hit the bench. Nothing really standing out too far at the moment, but Renekton has been pretty high priority so far at Worlds, and the Echo hasn't been looked at.
Yeah, that's the other big thing. Are we going to see another Echo lock in here? This is 4 back-to-back losses for that champion. Coming into play-ins, he was the hottest thing in solo queue and isn't just shaping out that way. This already, the draft, the bans coming through, Pantheon has been red side banned every single time. Huni, Rumble, Damonte, Kiana, these are very expected stuff, but that was quick.
That was real quick. Kai'Sa locked in first up here on the blue side, very swiftly. I personally would like to see Renekton Elise just slammed from Clutch, but I don't think we're going to, Bryce, because we haven't seen it all day.
I mean, I could see it, right? Renekton in the hands of Huni, Lira, long-time Elise player, and get the early aggression going. You saw Fudge flash GP, unfortunate damage miscalculation. You can attack the top side if you want to, and okay.
God,
it could be it. This could be it.
It's happened. We've done it. We've figured it out. We've shaken the sillies off. No more crazy echoes. Chrono shifting around. It is now the Elise, the Spider Lady, retains her top spot as AP jungler. Although that was theoretically Gragas a few patches ago.
Is it going to happen?
Just pick
10 seconds.
Renekton is surely the high. No, not going to happen.
Okay.
Never mind. Never mind.
Wow,
Rakan, though, we got the Elise. We're still happy. Okay?
Yeah, but super interesting. Xayah, of course, already banned, so it's not going to be another one of those matchups where on the patch it's yes, Xayah and Kai'Sa. You see the Kai'Sa Nort versus the Xayah Rakan. We've been seeing that matchup for a very long time, but Vulcan just straight up opting into the Rakan blind. No answer. We just saw the Leona matchup in the last game here today. Destiny has a lot of options. He's played a bunch of champions in the OPL, very versatile, as Karma once again, 2 games in a row, has seen nerfs, but still being picked up here quite early from Mammoth.
Were they really nerfing the Q by a little bit? Doesn't change what makes Karma so incredibly oppressive. And that is having an AoE shield that can proc Ardent Sensor on absolutely everyone. So she's still going to be locked in. Pretty high priority as Nautilus is going to be taken here from Destiny. That's where you get a little bit confused about the Rakan pickup so early because you don't necessarily need to grab it right there.
Yeah.
Could have been a different priority pick.
Because now it's like, what sort of style do you go towards? Picking anything that is going to fight in the bottom side will be rough right now unless you're going to kind of the extremes. Like thinking like Kai'Sa or Kalista Rakan rather. Like it is a bit of a stretch. Sivir makes a lot more sense if you go for the defensive option, right? This is a team that, with an Elise locked in, you mentioned the Renekton, I would expect to see that banned away here from Mammoth now, but if that gets left through, they have other options, and just play the safe stuff on the bottom side of the map. Just concede lane, just eat waves on Sivir, scale up, and let the top side do the work.
Yep. So Richard Sue on your screen right there. Good old Fantix behind his squad. Of course, formerly the coach of the Direwolves. Thinkard now talking through the options for Clutch as Babip's going to lose his favorite little Scorpion from the jungle.
Big facilitative jungler. Skarner, Sejuani, Jarvan, the likes of that. So moving those options does make a lot of sense here. We mentioned expecting solo lane bans to take away, like just threats that are good with the Elise. Aurelia, Renekton would be the other big one. If that gets through all the way,
yeah,
that'd be incredibly surprising.
That'd be super weird. I would be extraordinarily confused.
He also gets the cut on shields.
Yeah. The new and improved Crocodile.
Through the Karma comp.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah, it feels certainly like a good thing. Mammoth now trying to find the Crocodile button. Maybe they think, you know, we're out of Australia now. We don't need to ban crocodiles because they're not here.
Fair.
But they're going to still have to. This is League of Legends, and they go back to Runeterra every time. You know, that's how that one works. Just to let you guys know, Cody Sun pretty good on the Sivir. And despite the fact that she was nerfed before the playoffs, during the regular season, over a 20 KDA on that champ. Pretty good.
Monster.
Damn,
Monster.
we found it. We found the Crocky.
Made it.
So
and
there he goes.
The interesting thing for me is like how long that took, right? There was a lot of concern, like a lot of conversation happening around that. So they very obviously have something else on their minds, something thinking about worried in terms of the matchups. We'll see what Clutch wants to lock in right now. One of the solo lanes has to be the play. They do see the Karma, but is flexible. Okay.
Orianna freshly buffed off his back. A flat 50 damage on every rank of the Shockwave, plus a cheeky extra 0.1 on the ratio.
Yeah.
Good God, that's probably one of the biggest numbers buffs that we saw in 919.
And you're thinking about pairing it with a Rakan if you get a big engage over the top, the Sombrero. There was like that. I don't know if you browsed the League of Legends Reddit, but there was that clip that went up and he just literally one-hits like 4 people in the back end of a team fight. Like, thanks, Ori buffs.
Oh, wow. Okay, Triple going back to an old favorite here. The Azir has been locked in. This is a matchup that we saw so many years ago. I think last time I was at Worlds, we were casting things like the Orianna versus Azir, and that was 2 years ago. As the Pyke now being hovered, looking for a Kai'Sa Pyke bottom lane with a likely Karma top lane, but that's going to be a Nocturne. And, okay. Babip's going to try his hand at it this time.
Karma going to be on the top side as well. Matchup still to be selected, but that's an interesting choice there. A mobile control mage, Nocturne does very well at attacking those, and I will say especially in, you're expecting a side lane pressure matchup coming here from Clutch with the Elise, like a duo to pair. Attacking the side lanes is something that Nocturne does very well, so I think that would be the thought process, but back to it, the Tristana.
The Tristana coming in here for Huni on the top side of the map, most likely. That'll be up against Fudge's Karma. We'll see how Fudge is going to deal with Tristana, especially in the hands of an angry Huni after that first loss against Unicorns of Love. Oh, man. And we'd be talking about flexes if this Azir was on the other side, because, of course, Huni does like to play that one towards the top side of the map, but not going to be happening this time on Mammoth's side. And it's a little bit depressing because we don't get to see Fudge's incredible Aatrox because Aatrox was gutted and thrown in the bin.
Yeah, and I think interestingly, big picture between these teams. Like, think about the group overall. Clutch coming in, like, regional favorite, like NA, the bigger, better region, you have to say favorites coming into this one. And, and how the two teams, UOL and Mammoth, have kind of attacked them. Like, looking at what they do, they smash laning phase, like, get things rolling early. They have superstars in Damonte, like up-and-comer Huni, and they want to play through those lanes and then make things happen and steamroll early. But the one caveat is they're, like, slightly unreliable with a gold lead. and now this is going to be like a Karma comp, a Nocturne and Azir that scales very well. This will be a very difficult early game. Like, Lira's Elise, solo lane Tristana, they have buttons to force with the Rakan as well, but Mammoth, they've opted in for the scaling. They want to get late game, and they want to take it to them like past the 20-minute mark.
I actually really like that you bring up the fact that they're a bit of a loose cannon when it comes to the mid to late game, because that's exactly what Mammoth were in their most previous matchup. So we could be seeing some fireworks here as we get into game number 5, our second last one of the day. Here we go, Mammoth versus Clutch Gaming.
And pings into the Baron pit.
All right.
Okay.
Doing some Fido early.
Yeah.
Bit of a callback to a previous name of this organization, potentially.
But okay, just got to be contesting on the top side. Vision control, early wards will be super impactful in spotting out Lira. If he can get things done early, then can be very troublesome. So Mammoth want to just be able to slow down the early lanes, the early game, just kind of chill for a very long time. It is interesting that not a lot of people know about Mammoth and Topoon sitting behind the scenes. This is a team that over the course of the split, like they played even games, and for a very long time it was like blue side Topoon, pick the Nico. I would expect him to be like the Karma player, the very like reactive defensive list play towards bottom side sort of player, but Fudge stepping into the roster for domestically the playoffs buff that kind of happened here for Mammoth, and now Fudge has just seen every single game, but he's going to be playing the Karma here today.
Not necessarily a champion that feels like a Fudge champion, of course. Did like his Camille's, liked his Aatroxes, as we've been talking about. Did like to go for a bit of Biffo up there, but doing that against Huni, the king of Biffo in the top lane, is certainly asking for trouble. But going to have a pretty decent leash here for Babip as he starts things off. Of course, no stranger to champions that want to farm until level 6.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do it twice in a row here on the Nocturne.
Already seen that one. Leash as well from the bottom side of Clutch Gaming means that Lira, comparable clear here somewhat, at least in the early stages. Just wants the solo camps, eat those ones with a machete and look to make things happen. But the top lane matchup is really going to be the focus and what can be done up there. Huni, of course, getting the shove early. PTA, Tristana, the damage, like the amplifies the E. Oh, that's a hook.
Yeah, threads the hook. Finds Cody Sun there before he can press any button other than his W, which is what he most likely skilled at level 1.
Yeah. Interestingly as well, Vulcan actually starting with the E button. He knows that Nautilus has the proactivity early, just sitting there with a shield ready. So Guardian and the E means not a lot of damage traded back at the end of the day, but you can see already pings on the top side. They know exactly where Babip is just based on the leash on the bottom side. The bottom lane made that very obvious. Huni going to get a ward that will spot him out, and you can see already on the back foot, doesn't want to even go for his Gromp right now, and Lira's not even here, it's just Huni.
See whether Babip actually commits to moving up here towards the top side. Looks like he's not going to. Just going to head towards Agatha, as we like to affectionately call the Gromp, here on the blue side of the map. He's going to get taken down, trying to be sneaky, but that ward does spot that Babip is right there, and good information now taken by Clutch.
Yeah, the one thing with stuff like that is that you don't actually see the champion, so you see nothing on the minimap. Unless you scroll over, like, then you don't know that the Gromp is being taken, unless you're actively panning in that direction. Of course, Scry's Bloom is going to spot Nocturne. Babip's going to opt in for a recall. Absolutely no way to contest, but that's a jump.
Yeah, it's a rocket jump right on top of Fudge. As the explosive charge popped, and Huni gets a heck of a good trade.
Yeah, that's it. PTA, E on your head, and dive threat actually coming through. Babip has tempo and is going to face check here.
Oh, the Cocoon is going to go wide, though, as Babip does find some Umbral Blades, gets himself the fear there as well. Lira has to flash to get out, nothing to repel. So as Huni dives on in immediately, the flash comes out of Babip as Fudge has tried to tether him up. A brilliant clutch shield comes out from Fudge to keep his jungler alive, and the volatile Spiderling will get distracted by the minion.
Yeah, but Huni's still sticking around for the plate. Lira, yes, no flash, no HP, but if that channeled recall commits, they do.
Yep, the back does go through there as the Cocoon is flashed. Lira immediately goes up into the air. Huni now.
Huni dead?
He's going to go down. Fudge outplays it. Once again, it's a 1-for-1. My God, more fighting here on the bottom side as Destiny lands a hook, but that was an even 1-for-1 trade in theory that felt better for Mammoth.
Yeah, so incredibly close. Both Mammoth games so far have been around these early top lane dives. And you can see how much Clutch want to be forcing this one. Started off with like a level 3 Nocturne being face-checked by Elise, and they force it back, but the shield bait at the end of the day is just enough to keep them alive, Mammoth. Holding fast up there, but you can see the difference in styles this time, right? This is incredibly aggressive, and this is actually the second part. Very surprised that recall was committed to by Babip. Sticks around, nice flash on the cocoon, and the aggro gets dropped right then by Lira, which unfortunately means the demise of Huni, but 1-for-1 at the end of the day. CS advantage, some of the wave died, so it's a 22-30 up there, and continuing to push is the Tristana.
Yep, feels like Clutch still do need to be the ones making more moves in this early game, though, and going 1-for-1 isn't good enough. Is what it feels like here for these guys. No real front line, anything like that. They're just going to need a lot of extra damage. And Huni's demonstrating that he does have a fair bit of it.
Yeah. It's Goomba stomped.
Yeah.
Off cooldown, jump on his head. As long as you know where the jungler is, as long as you have some sort of idea, that can just be the play consistently. We saw as well earlier, like the Bork build on the Tristana and solo lane, a little bit more forgiving, right? And in terms of like side lane pressure, 80 carries, like they don't go to the side lane very often. Like it's just like about grouping up with your support, your team fighting. So the active is super potent, and especially into a matchup ranged like Fudge has picked in the Karma here, you can kind of see once he goes that route, copping a Mantra Q to the face won't be the worst thing. So he can continue that trade pattern, just jump on his head, pop the E, jump away, and Lifesteal would do the work for him. Fudge pops another one off the turret there. Okay.
Yeah. And also, Babip, only level 4 here at the moment, so not going to be threatening any paranoias onto Huni or anything like that. In the mid lane, Damonte also has pretty considerable advantage as far as the farm. Both of our mid laners have teleported back into that lane, and we've got a Null Magic Mantle and a couple of rings here for triple. And those 2 rings have been answered there from Damonte with some brown bags also. So just comfortably farming minion wave after minion wave here in the mid lane, which is what you'd expect out of the Orianna Azir matchup.
And coming into Worlds this year, it was kind of curious to see like where the mid meta would lie.
Yeah,
like you see the Ori buff, the Syndra buffs before that point. We saw like EU Masters, they were playing mages in the bottom side. And then like we've seen a resurgence of Galio, a resurgence of Kassadin. Like do we just go back like heavy control mage meta? What is going to happen? This game, Ori versus Azir is kind of a matchup of the ages. It used to be like the Ori Syndra, and this is kind of the new age somewhat. But yeah, Damonte playing very well so far, just eking out an advantage with basically 0 jungle pressure, right? This is just straight up 1v1. Like the junglers, all of their attention has been topside. And looking the goods right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Clutch roster though, and I'm just seeing squishy champion after squishy champion the whole way through. It feels like they will need a decent advantage if this composition is not just going to be outlasted by Mammoth with all of the extra shields, with the fact that their protection for King and Triple is going to be there in the form of the Karma plus Destiny there with the Aftershock being that tanky frontline. It feels like the front-to-back team fight is going to be there for Mammoth if they can play out the fights in a way that's going to work. And that's where the big question mark is for me, because are we going to see the gap between the regions actually rear its ugly head in the fact that Clutch Gaming will just be able to outskill their opponents in the 5v5?
And I think the big thing to that respect, like you look at the compositions, you look at how you kind of expect the game to play out. The one big thing that I like about Clutch is they're creative with how they force fights, right? Like they're not one-dimensional. It's not like, okay, Huni just goes in and we all follow, let's front to back, let's team fight. Like big Kiana player, like flanks galore all over the place, like very high prio and Rumble that was banned away this game. Clutch is like a very young, ambitious team looking to prove themselves from like multiple respects. Like Cody Sun and Vulcan, this is the bottom lane of like super young players in all honesty, but coming from different regions, right? Different reasons behind the play. Cody Sun with 100 Thieves thing, Vulcan
not
now
gonna
onto
find
pro
the
play.
Okay, back to your point, you're fine.
Interesting. Big swing, no ding there. But yeah, they've got a lot to prove, right? They're an ambitious team and they're creative with how they force fights. So I think Mammoth, so they're going to have to watch out as we head on into the mid game.
Yep. Having a look at the total gold, it's the solo laners for Clutch Gaming that are topping it at this particular point in time. No surprises there as Huni once again is just shooting Fudge. That is a lot of damage.
But now he's got a Vamp Scepter.
Ho-ho!
So he just trods on back home, works on his Bork, and is just sitting full HP. And every time that trade happens, Fudge is going to be a little bit more miserable.
Yep. Speaking of full HP, now has an Ocean Drake, which in theory is going to help out, even if minimally.
It's just getting so much worse. The matchup just sucks already, and it's like Ocean Dragon, okay. Itemization, already lost 2.5 plates. This wave probably should be 3. Mancha Q, the wave, has been the entire play pattern so far, just trying to eat as many creeps as possible, and it does seem like a little bit of a bleed happening on the top side of the map here for Mammoth.
Yep, Fudge desperately looking for an Iceborne Gauntlet, doesn't have teleport to get himself back to this lane, so Huni may just knock this turret down. In theory, but no, they're going to go for a bit of a lane swap. So sending King and Destiny up here towards the top side, and now could be a catch onto Triple. Wants to shift some sands and steps out of the sombrero and just over the wall. That was beautifully done by Triple.
Jukes the other way, and unfortunately, the ball being carried by Rakan hits absolutely nothing. That was Sivir ulti on the hunt popped as well from Cody Sun, so a lot of buttons used for absolutely no kill. Rift Herald is the play though, because we are at 10 minutes. That means flip the map. Let's start this one, and Mammoth done their preparation. They actually went for the flip as well, so everybody up here. Do we see a contest without the Orianna ulti? Babip doesn't have an ulti of his own either. This is going to be a difficult one, but it looks like the play.
Emperor's Divide is back available once again. Used just there as a grand entrance does land. Ignite down onto Fudge there as well.
Oh, Lira!
Immediately, Lira flashes over the wall and just destroys him in his spider form. Babip gets the fear down, but the damage had been done. And Fudge now flashless and lifeless as we move back towards Shelly.
Yeah, just quick play there from Clutch. That was a very close hook to connecting. I don't even know if Destiny wanted to take that one in, but looks like they're looking for the contest. Babip still doesn't have ulti. Azir out of the play, nothing of his own volition, but they're sticking for it. They can't see into the bush, just hooks into the dot bush, and Rift Herald's gone.
Yep, Command Protect going to help everyone as well. There's a lot of movement speed augmentation available for this squad as well. We talk about Mantra and Inspire a whole lot. What we don't talk about as much is the dissonance movement speed from the Orianna, and you pair that now with Cody Sun with the On the Hunt, and Vulcan can pop quickness and go about a bajillion miles per hour.
Yeah.
Which I think is a technical term for how fast you go with all of those augmentations. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Technical term.
Yeah, it's a technical term.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. You'll learn about that. It's in the LCK handbook that you'll get on your first day. Don't you worry about it.
But anyway, I like that play, right? And the interesting thing about it is that Mammoth knew exactly what was happening. It's like 10 minutes on the dot, flip the map, let's set up Rift Herald, but they just straight up executed better. They look for the pick onto Triple, he bursts the ulti out, and then Lira comes from the flank. Like, they just pick a side.
Okay, this could be the one combo here as Babip has to flash. Gets himself out of the way. The Clockwork wind-up was almost threatening a kill there onto the Nocturne, so Babip intelligently pressing his F key.
And now Rift Herald could be used right now. Absolutely 0 members down here to defend. Even if they wanted to take the 3v3, this is going to be a bunch of plates, only 12 minutes on the clock, so...
Yeah, the shelf of this particular turret was full. There are plates that are going to go everywhere. It's a lot of money.
Just picks it all up. Feels good.
Certainly does if you're a Clutch fan, and this is what we were expecting out of this squad. Feels like a bit of an outlier. Their previous match, and also it kind of felt that way as the game was going along as well. It felt like even Clutch were confused by the fact that they were losing. They've tidied up how this game goes. So far, the early game has been played out well, despite maybe a slight hiccup with that first dive on the top side. And now you've got items in for Lira, got the Stalk Boots as well. As the Runic Echoes and now Blade of the Ruin King is done for Huni.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is just plate gold right now. Like, you take a look, Mammoth have hit one bottom lane plate, and that's it. Now they lost their turret. Attacking that any further is going to be super rough. This is a much quicker game than we saw last game. With the other group here, Clutch definitely speeding this one up with that Rift Herald play, but they have just plenty of gold on multiple members. Yes, bottom lane is down, like 40 CS. That's super significant. But mid lane up 20, Huni up 10, but is in a very good spot to start tracking into the mid game. So really Cody Sun is like shepherding a little bit of that gap with the plates that he just got gifted, right? Like Rift Herald bashes into his lane. Yes, Vulcan was there, so split it up a little bit. King is definitely on the up and up in this side, but solo lane is for Clutch, how they like to play the game, certainly online.
Yeah, and Clutch has been playing topside as well. So Cody Sun and Vulcan have been
I've had nothing.
Just forced to sit back and hope that they get some of the scraps later on, and they've played it out very well. As you can see, it's an assist for both of them after that Rift Herald fight, but otherwise it's been pretty smooth sailing.
Triple.
Yeah, Triple in a little bit of trouble, but Shifting Sands pretty strong.
Yeah, eats almost all of the wave before. Has to dash to safety, but Dragon was the real prize there, just fighting over a little bit of priority in the mid lane. Vulcan doing a very smart read here. He knows that top lane will be the answer here. Babip hasn't been able to find a successful Nocturne ulti. He's pressed the button twice. First one did not get them a kill. Second one didn't actually go in for the play, I believe, in the mid lane. So
Lira's been delivered everything, but he wants this game as well.
And they played around the Elise matchup so well, right? The early hiccup was kind of it. Face checks, flashes over a wall, but just given the prio they've had in the mid lane, with Damonte, they've played everything around Huni and just been starving camps from Babip. And the really big decision from Mammoth has been that they want to match the plays. Like, this game hasn't been trade on the other side of the map. It's been, okay, we're here to defend. Oh, we can't defend. Okay, like, then we just leave, right? And that's where this gold lead is coming from. Like, the CS discrepancies are starting to creep up. They've lost Dragons for free, Rift Heralds for free. And 3,000 at 15 minutes, like, that is a significant advantage right now in Clutch. They're feeling fine.
They are, and they're also able to now invest all of this extra gold in a vision around the map. You can see, look at that vision line. That is beautiful.
So straight.
I know.
It's just straight down the river.
Straight down the river. There is no way that Huni is in any trouble, apart from the fact that he's now well and truly into Mammoth territory. But if he was towards his tower, he'd have forward on almost anything that was going on. Cody Sun here as well understands that no one's coming down the river as well, and Clutch just have complete ownership of their side of the map. Now looking to move that vision line further forward. Triple going to move back at just the right time. Cocoon doesn't find him. This is Triple's Azir, though. He's whiffed a couple of ultis so far, still trying to get his eye in, but he has made some pretty amazing plays, even in high-pressure situations like this. It's Huni, once again, diving in on top of Fudge immediately. Fudge is going to mantra that W to keep him alive.
Okay.
Will do so.
Ninja Tubby and Iceborne Gauntlet putting in overtime here, absolutely. But this is really the prize, right? Like, Clutch want to break the mid lane turret. There's no Dragon, there's no Baron for a very long time, 3 minutes or over there. So breaking the mid lane outer is really the only thing left on the map. And Mammoth are here to try and defend that one, but Huni is becoming a problem in the side lane.
He is, and if you dive in and you use your buttons to take down one of the 80 carries, they've got a secondary one on the side of Clutch, so that's a real rough time. Normally when you're a Nocturne, you're like, yes, I killed the 80 carry, nice. But then you're going to get shot by a Tristana.
Right-click by another guy.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of right-clickers here on this squad. Even Damonte wants to be doing it to utilize his passive. As we've got Clutch moving in to what is, in theory, Mammoth's territory, but it doesn't really feel like it. Inner turret's now standing, but maybe not for long on the top side of the map. That outer in mid lane does need to go down. Clutch need to try and get that one to really open up this map and allow them to play around the Baron that's going to be spawning in 3 minutes. But only 17 minutes into this game, a 4,000 gold lead for Clutch, and they don't look like they're relenting on any of their control.
Yeah.
We've seen leads like this before, right? But Clutch are just moving that vision line up and continuing to suffocate so that this gold lead expands rather than shrinks.
Yeah. And the only thorn is really the Nocturne, right? Like, nothing has happened so far, but it was an interesting deploy they just got themselves in. Cody Sun, like, completely alone answering bottom side when Mammoth had 3-ish members in the area. So they kind of just reset, they flipped the map, looking to get some of that control back, but it is kind of just a process of time, and they're not giving them anything. Now Lira towards the complete opposite side of the map. Huni is no longer the one they're playing around, just shepherding in Cody Sun towards the mid lane. Mammoth are here, though. Destiny's just been blind hooking bushes all game. Like,
has, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's just checking for champions.
Well, like, there's just no vision, right?
Yeah.
So he has to. It's the only way that they can actually get forward.
The classic, I don't have wards, but I've got a hook.
Yeah, exactly right. Use your body to be a human ward. And he's doing that relatively well, but it's not the position that you want to be in. And Huni, he's just going to knock down yet another one. He might even just be able to get this one here, as King's going to be very late, and he's not going to be able to wait underneath this turret anyway. A Void Seeker flies in just to say, well, this is about the range that I want to stand from you, Huni. You are a terrifying gentleman on the Rift. And it was King that was playing Tristana last time out.
Yeah.
And now it's been switched into the hands of Huni, and this guy showing us why the top lane Tristana did rise to prevalence.
And Clutch just doing such a good job of spreading Mammoth thin. They have no champion that can answer the Tristana in the side lane. Karma doesn't want to do it. Azir doesn't want to do it. You saw King was deployed, but a little bit too late on the call there, and they lose the turret. That really won't get any easier as the game progresses. And in terms of the vision control, the fact that all of these objectives, the Rift, did have a contest, but nothing on Dragon, losing blue buffs in the hands of Triple. Like, Mammoth just don't feel like they can step anywhere right now. They truly are just being suffocated by Clutch. The vision control has been super on point here, and an answer is going to have to come eventually, right? Like, Azir
so what can they do?
Like, yeah, it really is on the Nocturne and the Nautilus, like, finding something. Like, right now, like, attacking the side lane, if you get anything onto Huni, then you can open up a lot of space and buy yourselves time. But this is a composition that once you get super late game, the Azir Kai'Sa, you have the Shields of Karma once again. Like, if you're first to the objective, you force Clutch to come to you, and then you can win a team fight. But Clutch just have all the momentum, all the gold right now, and that's just so difficult to do.
We've got second item for King, though, so that's good news here for Mammoth. The Rage Blade is done. Nash's Tooth moving towards a Banshee's Veil, most likely on Triple's side. So a couple of items will be there for the damage dealers on Mammoth. But that's a third Ocean Drake.
Two games back to back.
I know. We've it's been a bit rainy.
We're healing. We're healing out here.
We certainly are. Oh dear. I was going to make an LS reference, but that's just going to make him more angry about the situation. Doesn't like to be brought up when it comes to these Ocean Drakes. As King throws out the Void Seeker and does find someone. Vulcan not going to be too worried about it. There's Babip going for second item, Black Cleaver, which is going to make our good friend Vedius a little bit upset.
That was solo lane, to be fair.
That's true. Do you like
But
Black
also,
Cleaver a little bit more from the jungle? I think
A little bit. Well, the thing is, right now,
just real good.
yes, absolutely. He has many members to attack as well. He's got an Ori, he's got a Sivir,
That's true.
Elise, Tristana. Got a bunch of options. So
If you're ever going to pop someone, right, it's going to be against a composition like this, because everyone's poppable.
the one thing I will say with like what we were talking about earlier, like how Mammoth play this game from here on out, like their win condition, being first to an objective and just being able to start up a Dragon or a Baron, like you need to be able to tank it. They have absolutely no tank. Nautilus just does not count. He has 0 gold. Bottom of the tree there. That actually
Triple
lands.
has to flash to get out of the way. Yep, good shockwave, but it's only onto one, and he survives. But they get the turret.
Finally!
And that's what Clutch wanted.
Yes. It's been a long time coming. A lot of pressure and a lot of defense there from Mammoth, but they make it work.
Tell you what, I love this game, though, because look at the top of the screen. 1 to 2.
It's
Are we in Korea?
It's
Like,
really
what's
just
happening,
not what
guys?
I expected with a Clutch game.
I know.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, we talk about the teams here at Worlds, and they have sped up the game a little bit, but I'm fresh off a promotion tournament where games were certainly going a little bit longer.
But now we have something to play for. 20 minutes, 21:40. Baron is certainly up and alive, and going to be a problem. Babip and Destiny linking up to try and sweep out some of this vision control, drop a couple of wards of their own. Unfortunate that there's already a pink ward in that bush, because that is like the ward that could stick.
Yeah.
Everybody sweeps up river, everybody walks into the pit. And good teams also sweep up further, like past the Baron pit. I would expect Clutch to go for that one, but if anything is going to land, it would be that, but they absolutely know it's there.
Lira going to come on over, finds his own ward, and Vulcan not going to be sweeping this one out. So at least that sneaky little guy is going to remain. Is Vulcan now with the Command Protect available to him? I mean, I love this. You can sort of just slingshot your Rakan into a fight using the dissonance and the extra shielding that he will have with the Command Protect. Damonte is going to have a lot of different facets to his play in order to augment this team in this fight with the double 80 carries that they have. As the hook is going to connect immediately. Goes into the stopwatch now, as that's going to be the disengage that Clutch were looking for. Ulti for a stopwatch. You'll probably take that if you're Mammoth, especially with only that stopwatch a component of the Zhonya's that will be coming eventually for Lira.
It's going to get the button back eventually, and that's just going to be the double punish there from Clutch, right? They are already pushing the side lanes. Ocean Dragon means he doesn't even have to reset off the back end. He's got triple of those. King maybe in trouble, but he's going into
the
Fudge
first
here.
move. Yeah, Huni just Buster shots him out of there.
Sure.
And Fudge is like, I was going that way anyway. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not fine, Fudge. Things are going pretty poorly there on the top side. Of course, he was expecting it. This was a lane where he's just going to have to try and make do, but unfortunately, elsewhere on the map, they weren't able to find anything.
Well, the thing is, they need exactly what they just found. Like, Nocturne ulti in, Nautilus finds a catch. Like, he's not just queuing an empty bush, fishing for something. Are they there? No, they actually pick onto Lira. The stopwatch, one-time use, at least for the time being, but it really is a case of Clutch have just had this set up the entire game. Double 80 carries in both side lanes, continuing to pressure. This is the first blue buff that Triple has had for a very long time, and he may not even get it.
Yeah, we have the Empress Divide, but the Shockwave's even better. Babip's going to go down. Triple shifts the sands again, trying to escape, but it's not going to work this time. Lira grabs that kill, and it's 4-1 in favor of Clutch. They have had control this whole game, and it won't stop now.
Yeah, Clutch so quick with the punish. Triple desperately wanting the blue buff, but now eyes on Baron. A Nautilus, a Karma, and a Kai'Sa is not going to be enough to contest with, so another absolutely free objective here is going to go the way of Clutch, and
7,000 gold is the lead. That is only going to extend now that that Baron has been taken. 3.5 minutes now, and when you see what Huni's going to do to the base, it becomes even more terrifying now that there is that Baron buff.
Oh, weirdest interaction of all time.
I know, both
Rakan knock up
into the wall,
Well, Rakan knock up lands despite Azir ulti throwing him back, but the CC, the sombrero comes over the top, and everybody just gets one hit. Now a Spicy Dragon, Infernal.
Yeah,
in
good
5 seconds, so Clutch setting up on the bottom side of the map makes a lot of sense. Mammoth positioning, though, they may want to contest this.
It's like they're going to try. We do have a ward in the pit here on Mammoth's side. They're going to start pushing things up towards this mid lane, but they just don't really have too much to hold on to. Mammoth, they want to be getting towards these later game team fights. They're wanting to get towards, you know, King with a Hurricane, being able to dive bomb the back line, things like that. But they just wander in and take an Infernal Drake. And, that's a whoopsie. Are we going to call that a whoopsie on the Clutch's side? There for the Infernal Drake?
I'll claim it.
Yeah, a bit of a whoopsie.
I'll claim it. Vulcan didn't have ulti, so in terms of like getting the fight they wanted, difficult, but incredibly surprising that Mammoth can just under the cover of dark. Well, I don't even want like the cover of light. They just walked into the visible river and are like, yoink, that's mine.
And they could have done it under cover of darkness if they wanted to. They just didn't.
But Clutch
Damonte threw out a
shockwave,
shockwave, by the way, and Babip spell shielded it, which is why it didn't really do very much. Just happy to wear that hat, apparently. This Destiny doesn't hook the brush, gets in there, but there's a couple of control wards, so not going to be able to stay there for very long.
And let's think about it for a moment. Like, maybe this is Clutch's response to what happened at the start of the day. Like, they come in, a lot of people looking at them, the NA representative, like, these guys will be the favorites of the group, and that game did not look pretty. So now this is, like, the complete opposite index of, like, let's slow it down. Yeah, you can have Infernal. We don't want to fight the team fights. We just want to play the side lanes, and fighting the Infernal doesn't set us up for that. Just allow Huni to have space and softly contest these things. And yeah, maybe in that situation, like, they gave a little bit too much away, but this is definitely a reaction from what we saw for Clutch earlier on in the day.
Yeah, actually, I like that you bring that up because, of course, their composition doesn't necessarily lend itself to team fights, despite the fact that they're so far ahead that maybe they just win anyway, right? That's sort of why you would say you'd want to fight for an Infernal Drake, because that would theoretically win the game faster because you smack them with your wallets a bit and then everything's okay. But Mammoth, they have a win condition that is find a 5v5 and win. And if you just don't ever find that, you lose. And Clutch, they don't have to 5v5.
It's so simple, but this time it looks like they will. Triple answering topside, so Azir not actually here, and he is the wave clear. Clutch just open a mid lane. That turret's just next to dead.
My God, I don't know whether the explosive charge or the demolish proc did more damage as another sombrero. Spins away there in the mid lane and doesn't find anyone. But that's not exactly the key cooldown. It's not exactly what they're wondering about, because you look at an Orianna, right? And you think normally in most games that Shockwave is the pivotal ability. Like, you wait for these team fights, you keep your eye on the Shockwave, but that's not what Clutch are even trying to do. They could even just use a Shockwave as disengage if they want to. A zoning Shockwave, if you will.
Zoning Shockwave.
I've said zoning Hemoblade before.
I hate zoning Shockwave. They suck.
You think you should just call it a miss?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's what most of them are.
A lot of misclick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Krug's going to be taken here by Huni. He's going to move back towards the top lane and push that one in. We've broken the base in the mid lane, but we haven't taken the inhibitor on Clutch's side, as Babip just wants to find some popcorn chickens and will do so. It's one of the first jungle camps that he's taken for himself, as he's not going to get any more. He's going to get sent to the death chamber. The last crit is going to be enough there from Cody Sun, who even gets the mana back with his shield and gets himself the red buff on the way out.
Very nice pick there from Clutch. A little bit of greedy pathing from Babip. Costs himself his life and the flash. Huni's found Destiny, maybe triple.
2 versus 2, but it's all about the Huni damage. Gets himself the shield, and Destiny will walk through the base gate to keep himself alive. Huni, he wanted the rocket jump cooldown. It's a little bit too high for him to go after Destiny on his Nautilus, but that will spell the demise of the inhibitor in the mid lane. And now 1.5 minutes on the Baron. They can set up, they can grab some more vision, and they can rinse, repeat, do it all again.
And once again, another thing taken without a fight. A single pick means that they just walk up mid. Mammoth don't have the numbers to contest that one. No Nocturne ulti popped. He's sitting in the grave right now. They maintain Baron control. They get themselves the crab just before the spawn. This is very clean play from Clutch. Very careful. And certainly looking to close this one out. Huni is just dishing out disgusting damage.
Yeah. Yeah, he's certainly smurfing this game in a pretty massive sense. Has himself the 3 items that he really wants, and will soon have the Double Zeal and the Infinity Edge, which is every Tristana's dream. Probably just has to go back in the next couple of minutes, and he will have that one for himself. Fudge finally has the Ardent Sensor. We've got 3 items onto King. He desperately wants an Infinity Edge of his own if he wants to do maximum damage, but this will have to do for the moment. In theory, what Mammoth want to do in a team fight is available to them.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it's come a little bit too little, and a little bit too late.
The real problem is agency. Like, how do they get what they want? Because remember, King has had like a 40-50 CS lead the entire game.
Yeah.
He just hasn't had a fight to right-click people and do damage. Like, his damage numbers right now would be super low, not for lack of a good game on his part, right? Like, there's just been 0 fights that have happened in general and 0 fights around him, so Clutch certainly slowing this one down a lot, and Mammoth just struggling to find the fight they need. Here's a big flank from multiple members, but Infernal Dragon is just going to be the prize. Another one soloed out by Lira. It's making a trend of that.
Yep, Lira going to finally grab themselves an Infernal Drake. Next one will be that Elder, as they weren't quite able to get there in time to force an extra dragon. Probably works out relatively well here for Clutch, who want to be able to split the map on these big objectives. And it's likely that you'll have a few members of Clutch that can try and hold on to multiple areas at once and split Mammoth up. If Mammoth are trying to stop an Elder Drake and a Baron at the same time, then you've got them in exactly the position that you want as Clutch, who don't necessarily have that front line to try and go for these team fights that you so eloquently alluded to earlier on in this game.
Now Baron potentially going to be started here. They have a sweeper available. Lyra's going to pop that one, so the wards will be completely negated here. Furthest line of vision as the observers toggle that one is on top of the Clutch Gaming lineup, but the sweeper still traveling there for Lira. Means he's going to clean out just about everything. Mammoth in trouble here.
Yeah, Paranoia is going to come in defensively as Babip, bit late on his spell shield, but
he goes in.
Okay, yeah, they actually do. They're going to find one. Killer Instinct comes in, but immediately Golden goes the Spider, and Vulcan dives forward as well. He also has the stopwatch, and now Triple off to the wrong side, just sweeps his way into the Raptor camp, and no one's died just yet. A lot of buttons pressed, but Clutch have the inside track on the Baron.
Yeah, zooming towards the Baron pit. Multiple resets coming out. Triple does have TP, but Babip will be a very long way away. Damage on the Baron cannot be understated. This one will die very quickly, but Mammoth here for the contest.
Yep, they still want this fight. It's not going to be the Baron going over, but can they find a team fight is the question.
What?
The Baron down the one. That's stolen with a Void Seeker. What the hell was that? 1 health.
Why did that happen? Smite, Karma Q misses, and then from Narnia, King just throws a W. What? Why?
I don't know.
Why did that?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Mid-turret's gonna die? Cody Sun's basing in top lane? What on earth?
Well, I mean, you did set it up at the beginning of this match, right? You set it up, the fact that, you know, Clutch often makes some questionable decisions around mid to late game. They flip some coins, but look at that Baron health bar.
140. It misses. The Karma Q misses. 99. 41? 1 HP! And Destiny's like, yeah, sure, just hit me in the head.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, that was a rage helmet
Lord.
that they just threw at him. And, okay. Well, this game just got very interesting.
Babip's laughing on the player cam.
Yeah, I don't know whether this means that Mammoth now have a chance in this game, because they're still extraordinarily far behind.
Well, yes, but the one thing they've struggled with is like getting the fight they want. Nothing gives you agency like a Baron buff.
That's true.
Right, like you just set up in a lane. You can see right now, Huni's in top side, Damonte's dealing with the bottom side wave, but Mammoth just literally don't care. They're just walking up mid lane, forcing the priority. Getting a team fight like this window with Baron, they've got another 2 minutes on that cooldown is going to be...
transition it into Elder almost instantly as well if they can get their minion waves in order.
Yeah, they have to make something work right now because everything else, this has been Clutch's game, right? Like the ever so slow victory, not in Clutch fashion that you would have expected, but that was a very big handout that was just given to Mammoth. And look, let's see if they can use it.
That was like a care package delivered from the gods or something like that. I don't know. They really wanted to keep Mammoth in this match because it looked like Clutch had their hands around Mammoth's throat, right? Like this this Mammoth was going extinct and there was no way that we could change history, but Clutch decided that they really want to keep the conservation up. They want to keep these big elephants alive and keep them in the play-in stage. Of course, remember, if Clutch go down 0-2, that's going to feel awful here. It's hard to reverse sweep the play-in group stage, you know? After a rough day one, it does get difficult. They're good at reverse sweeping, but I just wouldn't do it here.
And that's the other thing to like hit on expectations or where we're at with the group. It's already an unlikely scenario. A victory here for Clutch is equalizing the playing field, and on the first day, they've all gone 1-1. If Mammoth use this kind of window that they've been given to take a victory, end up 2-0, as you mentioned, like bouncing back in a double round robin group stage is incredibly difficult, and 0-2 is not where you would have expected the higher seed teams to start this one off, but Group A already just on the first day of play-ins has looked absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's completely wide open after the first couple of results that we had here today. It's exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see what we don't expect. It's already happened. Here we go. Yeah. Mantrid Inspire does come in.
15
just posturing
on the Elder Dragon.
And are we going to have that as an option here for either of these teams? I want to see a rocket jump sombrero coming in from the Tristana. That's what I want. That's what I'm desperate for. But teleport going to come back into the mid lane. This is the Kaiser, remember. They have to protect this position. Could have been a mistake, but Supercharger gets King out. That was dicey. That was real rough, Bryce. I saw you tensing up there a little bit.
Just for a second. Now they've swapped sides, but every now and again, Hook is on, actually.
He gets at max range. Huge shield comes in as the Paranoia flies forward as well. Babip goes into his stopwatch, but now the Grand Entrance perfectly timed as Lira locks down the kill on his opposite number. Mammoth disengaged, but that's that one pick, again, that Clutch have been using all game, and they'll use that to get an Elder Drake.
And that's all they need. A path to the Dragon Pit. Mammoth just reset on the other side of the map. The Hook landed, but perfectly timed response. And the Baron, 100% a big yikes. But now with an Elder Dragon, they've got an Infernal Triple Ocean. They're kind of back to where they were 10 minutes ago. They're still in the driver's seat. Gold lead hitting 10,000 right now.
Yep, that is everyone with the Warmogs, basically, is how this Elder Drake feels. And they're going to be out of siege for about forever. I think that's the approximation.
That's the technical.
Of how they can. Yeah,
we're all about.
I'm sorry about technical terms that I keep throwing out for you guys, but that's another one. If you read the textbook, approximately forever sieging, at least until the Elder Drake wears off. So theoretically, 2 minutes is going to be the actual response. As Huni should be able to take this one down, but doesn't want to push his luck. Level 18, of course, so he's drawn a few beads so far this game, and that range has been maxed out.
Yes.
Take down 2 inhibitors, and they'll back away. Clutch. It's clean, it's controlled. They're trying not to think about that 1 health on the Baron that got sought by the Void. They are just going to go back to base and reset for the Baron that is available in 50 seconds. Let's try and get at least one right this game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The weirdest thing for me about Elder Dragon is that it makes irrelevant abilities, like, super impactful.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, when you're sieging a base and, like, Elise just walks up and hits a W and you're a tank, and you're like, oh, I'll just eat that, that's fine. And all of a sudden, like, the game changes in what you have to think about.
Yeah.
Now, Elder still online, forcing up around this Baron. Destiny got themselves a very deep ward, but flanking options, it's a Karma or an Azir. Neither of them sound very good at this stage of the game, but Mammoth certainly have control of the pit right now.
This is going to be the last-ditch effort because, of course, as this time goes by... Oh, God, Destiny.
Noe.
Yeah, that is a bit of a Noe.
Huni,
yeah, be diving forward. Another defensive Paranoia. Babip's been using these quite effectively, but now we've got Clutch on the correct side to win the game. Enemy Nexus is what you need, not the Baron buff, as Mammoth now have to try and find a way back to their own base. Vulcan looking for it. Huni, of course, looking for it. As he dives on in, we've got another engage coming forward. That's a really great quickness to lock them all up. And King the first to die. That should mean the end of Mammoth. And Huni, that time, was over-aggression that was warranted. That time, he's going to win the game for his team.
Triple,
as Empress Divide is going to come down onto Damonte. He should be falling here as Triple will get it with the last Q, but in the meantime, we've got 280 carries spending some time with some structures. That's exactly what you want if you're Clutch, and the gatekeeper is Lira. The Nexus falls down and Clutch are on the board, 1-1.
And in completely unsuspecting fashion, right? This is a very different Clutch that fans that we've seen for a very long time, super slow, super defensive, after what's happened earlier on in the day, but they're able to equalize a 1-1 scoreline, ending the game without Baron. Elder Dragon and a Huni was enough to close that one out.
And the 1 health Baron happened just to make sure that we were all entertained along the way. Absolutely fantastic stuff. That is going to tie the scoreline with everyone in this group. So we're 1-1 apiece.
Just start again.
Group A.
Start again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Today's doesn't matter.
Is it even a double round robin at this stage? Like,
no.
We're just going to start another one. As Clutch, they come out. Huni there will have a redeeming performance.
Yeah.
And it's real scary. Huni with momentum is a gentleman that you don't want to go up against.
And I think multiple facets have to be hit on. The way they played around Lira in the jungle matchup in the early game, like the ability to just starve Babip of camps, abuse the prio that Huni was able to give them towards the top side, super impactful. And then as I've been saying, like close the game out in a very unsuspecting fashion. This is a young, very ambitious, creative team in Clutch. I would say that have shown some versatility, right?
Yeah.
This is now, in the span of a day, they've underperformed. They've already corrected the path. They've taken a victory like Mammoth beat UOL, that beat Clutch. So transitive properties, Clutch now sitting back on top. They've reclaimed their throne, maybe at the top of the group here and in a different fashion, yeah.
It is certainly still wide open. I do want to go back to talking about how Clutch won the game, because identifying your opponent's win conditions and then denying that of them is a really beautiful way to play League of Legends, and some that we don't see all that often, to be honest. People focus on how they're supposed to win instead of denying the opponents of their way, and Clutch had a masterclass in that.
It is the most satisfying way to play League of Legends. Like, just denying your opponent's fun. Like, you pick Trundle into Zac and he just doesn't have an E button. Like, those matchups are literally the best in the game, and then Clutch just did that on a macro scale, on a team-wide 5v5 scale, and yeah, I think that was a pretty impressive game. Obviously, like, you cannot ignore the huge blunder in the mid game. The Baron has to be mentioned.
Entertainment factor.
But it, like, all's well that ends well, and they got a victory.
Yeah, they certainly still managed to win that game. So it's all still good news for North America, and they're the last laugh.
Yeah, certainly got the hope back on track. You know what I mean? They absolutely needed it. 0-2 was not the start that they wanted here today, but yeah, turning that one around.
Yep, absolutely fantastic stuff. We do have some replays to have a look at. I really hope one of them is the Baron Pit. First one is not going to be. This is going to be the Emperor's Divide into the Shockwave, demonstrating that beautiful extra 50 damage.
This is the buff in action, you know, just one hitting the Nocturne. Triple gets chased down off the back end, but this was kind of a weird game where it was slow at times, but Clutch's punishes were always swift, right? The decision-making was instant. This is exactly like one of those scenarios. You see the two members stuck in all of the CC. Azir goes flying off to relative safety, and here it is. Here's what we want.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were looking for. All of the abilities going wide.
It hurts.
1 health.
Yeah. And there we have the buff in action once again. Ori just eats Nautilus for breakfast.
I think that 50 damage was hyper relevant in that particular scenario, but 1 health on the Baron, Ejim. I mean, we got a meme in the LCK, the 2 health on the Baron, but 1 health, that's a new one.
You've halved it.
Yeah.
They've gone down.
Absolutely love it. But let's see what Damonte has to say after his first win at Worlds as we throw it to Dracos.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Damonte, it's been kind of a mixed bag of a day. You had, I think, a pretty crushing first loss. You come in a very dominant second victory. Overall, what do you make of this first day? What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, Clutch, we love to play from behind. We always like to go down 0-2. We like to lose a lot. So, you know, it's kind of our comfort zone that we lost our first game. I think it was a wake-up call as well, because I think our read on what the meta for at least plans was kind of wrong. So you kind of saw we switched it up a lot in game 2, and I think it was a good first day.
Overall, it feels like just kind of massive changes between game 1 and 2, both in game and in draft as well, to support that. What was that conversation like backstage with the team after that rough first loss? Was it just like, hey, let's go back to basics? Was it this is something else that you had in the bag? What was that like?
Well, I think we kind of decided that since it was once we watched the U of L and Mammoth game, we realized that they were kind of down to just play a lot of scaling, and once that happens, no matter what, the better team will win if both teams just get scaling. So we kind of chose like Tristana top is for sure just going to be a beast late game. And then we moved away from Renekton mid and went into Orianna. So we kind of just like secured that we will win once the game goes past 30 minutes, because I think it's a bit safer, but definitely not an optimal way to play.
Well, overall, it looked really clean. I felt like once you guys got that Rift Shield, you never really gave up control. Now, it started off as a meme, but now it feels like it's coming true. It is the play-ins group of death. It's 1-1-1 all around for the entire group coming into the second round robin on day 3. What are your expectations for this group? Do you expect to just 2-0-3? Are you much more worried about unicorns than you may have been initially coming in?
Definitely we will 2-0 the next day. I think we're kind of, I mean, we're just used to it now, and I think we have a better read after this day, and then we have another day of scrims tomorrow, so we'll definitely come in with a better read on the meta, so we should just win.
All right, well, congrats again on the win. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me, Damonte. And Tanner time may have started here in this second game, but for now, we're going to send you a break and come back for our final game of the day.
Does go through there as the cocoon is flashed. Lira immediately goes up into the air. Huni now.
Huni
dead. He's going to go down. Fudge outplays it.
This is the first blue buff that Triple has had for a very long time, and he may not even get it.
Yeah, we have the Empress Divide, but the shockwave's even better. Babip's going to go down. Triple shifts the sands again, trying to escape, but it's not going to work this time. It's one of the first jungle camps that he's taken for himself, as he's not going to get any more. He's going to get sent to the death chamber.
Get out. No flash. Oh, you ball. It doesn't really matter.
Huni, of course, looking for it. As he dives on him, we've got another engage coming forward. That's a really great quickness to lock them all up. In the meantime, we've got 280 carries spending some time with some structures. That's exactly what you want if you're Clutch. And the gatekeeper is Lira. The Nexus falls down and Clutch are on the board. 1-1.